Jessica, a senior instructor at the Horticultural Society of New York. We are here at the Denny Farrell Riverbank State Park, the Horticultural Society's greenhouse and kitchen garden. Please join us today while we discover the wonderful world of carnivorous plants. When you hear or think about carnivorous plants, what are some words that come to mind? For me, the word adaptation comes to mind. Like all of the other plants in the world, carnivorous plants have adapted to a very specific environment. And we can observe those adaptations by taking a closer look. Our first carnivorous plant that we're going to take a look at today is called a Sarracenia. Now, a Sarracenia is a pitcher plant that's actually native to New York State. And like all other carnivorous plants, they have evolved and adapted to have traps, which are actually their modified leaves. Now, these traps help the plant get nutrients because they are from nutrient-poor environments. And if we take a look down in the trap, we might be able to see some fluid, and that's actually digestive fluid. So what happens is an insect or a little invertebrate or sometimes a frog will actually find its way into the edge of the trap and fall in and won't be able to get out. Now, another interesting thing about this plant is it's actually in flower. So if we take a look right here, we can see this very interesting flower structure. Our next plant we have is a Nepenthes, and you can kind of think of the Nepenthes as almost a cousin to the Sarracenia. Now, the Nepenthes is native to South Asia, and very similar to the Sarracenia, it is also a pitcher-type carnivorous plant. And like we were talking about the digestive fluid in the Sarracenia, in this Nepenthes, you can really see that fluid down at the bottom right there. So like we said before, that fluid is actually a digestive enzyme, so it will help the plant break down the insect or the little invertebrate or the frog or even sometimes small mammals. Now, the Nepenthes has a very interesting nickname. It is actually called a monkey cup, and this is because monkeys have been observed drinking from these Nepenthe pitchers in the wild. Our next plant is probably the most famous carnivorous plant, and some of you are probably a little familiar with it, and that's the Venus flytrap. Now, the Venus flytrap is native to North and South Carolina, which is on the southeast coast of the United States. Again, similar to all of the other carnivorous plants that we've observed, they have traps. But what is so fascinating about these traps is we can actually see the plant move. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna spin this guy around, and inside the trap there are tiny, tiny hairs. And if those tiny hairs are touched, they'll trigger the closing of the trap. So you have to imagine if you are a little fly or a little spider and you crawl into one of those traps and trigger those hairs, then it's gonna close and it's gonna be impossible for you to get out. So we're gonna spin this guy back around and we're gonna take a look at this trap right here that you can see has some remnants of a little insect. Our final carnivorous plant that we're gonna look at today is another variety of Nepenthes, but we just wanted to take a moment and show you how large these traps can actually get. So you can imagine how a small frog or lizard or even small mouse could find itself trapped in one of these pitchers. Thank you for joining me here today at the Denny Farrell Riverbank State Park, the Horticultural Society's Greenhouse Kitchen and Garden.